Alright, so this is journal number 3. I'm going to be kind of giving you my opinions and talking about chapter 7 from the Carter and McGoldrick text. So, basically, for this first one, I just kind of wanted to talk about how in one part of the chapter they talked about kind of the Christian, the black men's movement, and how, the message was returning to traditional men's values, which, I think is fine. I think the thing that I had the problem with was that it talked about how the men's movement in general is generally espoused to return to traditional gender values and traditional family values, and such roles have historically fostered violence, abuse, and physical control of weaker members of the system. So I kind of feel like that Carter and McGoldrick are saying that going back to traditional values are negative, when I don't know if I really agree with that or see it that way. I mean, a lot of it could have to do with my Christian values and me thinking that traditional values are, what I prefer and what I think is, more correct for society, what I want for my own family. So I kind of didn't like that it was saying, oh, well, the possibility of going back to traditional values means that men are going to be hitting their wives or kids, controlling them, and making it really negative. I mean, they have, they cited some stuff as evidence, but, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with it, and I think that they should have, maybe given some more information, because I feel like what they had to say was really negative, but, whatever. Something else that I thought that was interesting about that chapter was talking about men and their friendship, and I especially like the section where I quote from page 129, a common theme in therapy with men is that of loneliness. I can certainly agree with that and see it. I mean, most men wouldn't admit it. They'd say, oh yeah, I got plenty of friends, hang out with the guys from work, the neighborhood guys, guys down at the pub or the bar. But I mean, the truth is, are they really finding those emotional relationships, those intimate relationships that us women a lot of times have with our other friends? No. In general, I would say that a lot of men only see their wives or their partners or other people who, they engage in sexual relations with, who they, have those type of emotional and intimate relationships with. And, Carter and McGoldrick actually go to talk about it later, how men do sometimes confuse intimacy and sexual relationships together. Think, oh, well, if I'm having sex with this woman, I'm being intimate and emotional, and that might be true, but you can be intimate and emotional without having to have, a sexual relationship of that type. But going back to the thing about the common theme of loneliness with men, yeah, I can certainly see that, and I've even heard things from friends and family members, so I can certainly agree with and understand that. There was another part of the chapter that I wanted to talk about that also had to do with another part of the Christian men's movement, and it was talking about like the Promise Keepers, and I just, I don't have anything about the Promise Keepers in front of me, but everything I know about them is it's supposed to be a positive thing where men are coming together and uniting on the premise of being more like Jesus and keeping their promises, and not, being the type of men that God and Christ would want them to be. But somewhere in the text they quote some other evangelistic guy from like the 1930s. I can't find my place, but basically that he was saying that, Jesus was like the ultimate man, and he was the best, the ultimate scrapper, like fighter, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really agree with the Bible portraying Jesus in that way. I think that Jesus was the ultimate example of who we should be as men and women. I mean, yes, Jesus came down as a man because there are two genders, men and women. But I don't believe that God isn't a gender. So I think in Jesus' portrayal, he just tried to portray the type, to espouse God in a human form. So I think that there were definitely some qualities that Jesus had that people might think that were more effeminate, like the fact that he was merciful and compassionate and, and all that kind of stuff. He wasn't some, big macho, whatever. I mean, certainly he could take care of himself, but I think that, that guy had the wrong idea, and, of course, I don't think it helps, other people when they look at us Christians and whatnot. So I really enjoyed reading the chapter about men in transition, but I especially enjoyed the sections that, had to do with religious things and whatnot. I certainly didn't agree with most of what they said, but, hey, I was willing to listen. Thanks. Bye-bye.